Good day, everyone. I am Eljam Rodriguez, the CEO of SMR Innovation Company Limited. In our company, we always use critical path method. What is critical path method? Critical path method is used in project planning, generally for project scheduling for the on-time completion of project. It will help us to identify the earliest possible completion of a project. And the benefits of using these methods are to show the project schedule visually, highlights important tasks, to know or to visualize and to handle the possible risks. It helps the team project for a better communication. Thank you.
T stands for expected duration or time allocated to each activity. Activity ES is the earliest time the activity can start. EF is the earliest finish time. LF is the latest start time and LF is the latest finish time without extending the minimum completion time of the project.
Now, let's create a network diagram from the given data. Activity A can begin at the start as has no predecessors. Activities B and C need activity A to be completed before they can start. Activities D and E depend on completion of activity B. Activity A depends on the completion of activity C. Activity G depends on both after completing activities D and E. Activity H depends on the completion of both E and F. Activity I depends on the completion of both activities G and H. Since activity I has no successors, it marks the end of the sequence.
Good day everyone, this is Maria Angelica of BIT4I. Now, let's perform a forward pass by analyzing the project network diagram from the beginning to the end, calculating the earliest start and earliest finish times for each activity. This process ensures that the project processes efficiently and identifies the quickest path to completion. By utilizing the forward pass, we establish the minimum project duration and pinpoint critical milestones, enabling precise and proactive project planning. Now, let's proceed with Activity A. Since it has no predecessors, its earliest start time is 0. Given its duration of 5 days, we calculate the earliest finish time as 0 plus 5, which gives us 5. Activity B cannot be started until Activity A has been completed. Since the earliest finish time of Activity A is 5, the earliest start time for Activity B will be 5. With a duration of 10 days, we calculate the finish time of Activity B as 5 plus 10, which gives us 15. Activity C also depends on Activity A being completed before it can start. Given the earliest finish time of Activity A is 5, Activity C can start. With a duration of 13 days, we calculate the earliest finish time of Activity C as 5 plus 13, which gives us 18. Activity D depends on Activity E being completed since Activity B earliest time finish is 15. So actively, his earliest start time is 15 with a duration of 7 days. We can get activity this earliest finish time by adding 15 plus 7, which has given us 22. Activity E depends activity B to be finished before it can be started. Activity B earliest finish time is 15. So activity is earliest time is 15 with a duration of 3 days. Therefore, by adding 15 and 3, we can get 18 for activity is earliest finish time. Activity F needs activity C to be completed before it can start. Since activity C earliest finish time is 18, so activity F's earliest start time would be 18. And its duration is a day, so activity F's earliest finish time is 18 plus 9, which give us 27. Activity G needs both activity D and E to be finished before it can start. Since the earliest finish time for D and E are 22 and 18, activity G needs both of them to be finished in order to start. Activity T earliest finish time is 22, so activity G can be start at 22. In other words, the highest of the earliest finish time precedes activity B will be actively earliest start time. So, actively, G earliest start time will be 22 and its duration is 4 days to be get the earliest finish time. Let's add 4 and 22 which give us 22, same activity G. Activity H will also has two processors which are actively E and F. Therefore, we take higher earliest finish time which is 27 from actively F. So actively H earliest start time is 27 with a duration of 3 days. Therefore, activity B earliest finish time is 27 plus 3, which give us 30 actively. Depends on the completion of the both activities G and H before they can start, but since the highest earliest finish time between activities H and G is 30, which is from the activity H, so the earliest start time of activity I will be 30 with the duration of 7 days. Therefore, the project completion time is 30 plus 7, which give us 37 days. So the project time is at least 37 days, earliest finish time of activity.
Now that we're done with the forward pass, let's now proceed with the backward pass. To perform the backward pass, we need to start from the last activity and move backwards, identifying the latest start time or LS and latest finish time or LF for each activity. This ensure each task is completed within the project time frame without delay. The backward pass helps in determining the latest times task can start without affecting the project completion date. So from activity I, since it is the last activity, the latest finish time is equal to the earliest finish time, which is 37 since there's no successor, so we can get the latest start time by subtracting the activity time or duration from the latest finish time, which is 37 minus 7. This is because activity I most finished by the day 37 and take 7 days. So our latest start time activity I is 30, and for activity H the only successor is I, and therefore the latest finish time for H is the latest start time of I, which is 30 within a duration of days. So to get the latest start time, let's subtract the duration from the latest in finish time, which is 30 minus 3. And we will get 27 for activity G. Since heat successor is I, the latest finish time of activity G is the latest start time of activity I, which is 30 given that activity G has a duration of 4 days. So by subtracting 4 from 30, we will get 26 for its latest start time. Let's now proceed to activity F, whose success for is as activity H, since the latest start time of activity H is 27. So the latest finish time of activity F will be 27 with a duration of days to get the latest start time. Let's just subtract 9 from 27 and then we'll get 18. Next is activity since as two successor which are activity 8, H and G. Before starting else, we need to make sure we complete activity E. Before any other task begin, we choose the minimum latest start time between activity G, which has 26, and activity H, which has 27. So we need to choose the latest start time of activity G, which is 26. Therefore, our latest finish time for activity E is 26 with a duration of 3 days. And to find the latest start time, just subtract 3 from 10 to 6 and it gives us 23. Or activity D, where its successor is activity G, since the latest start time of activity G is 26. So the latest finish time of activity D will be 26 with a duration of 7 days to get the latest start time. Just subtract D 7 from 26 and it gives us 19. Next is activity C. Since its successor is F, so the latest finish time of activity C is the latest start time of activity F, which is 18, and activity C has a duration of 13 days. So by subtracting 13 from 18, we will get 5 for its latest starting time. So activity B has two successor, 2, which activity D and E. The minimum latest start time between activity D and E is 19 from activity D. So the latest finish time for activity B is 19 with a duration of 10 days. So by subtracting 10 from 19, we will get for latest start time. Lastly, activity A also has two successors, which are activity B and C. The minimum latest start time between these two activities is 5 that we got from activity C. Therefore, the latest finish time for task A is 5 with a duration 5 days. So by subtracting 5 from 5, we get 0 for its latest start time. Now let's determine the number of slack or floats each activity, as the floats or slack of an activity refers to maximum duration an activity can be delayed without compromising the project overall completion time, and it is calculated as LS minus ES or LF minus EF. So the slack for activity A is calculated as either 0 minus 0 or 5 minus 5, which will be 0. The slack value for other activity are as follow. Activity B has a slack of A. Activity C has slack of 0. Activity D has 4. Activity E has 8. Activity F has 0. Activity G has 4. Activity H has 0. And lastly, activity I also has a slack of 0. Example, the activity B can start at any time between day 5 and day 9. and it can finish anytime between day 15 and 19. The project can finish in 37 days even if activity B is delayed for up 4 days.
Activity A, C, F, and I cannot be delayed at all without also affecting the project completion time. For example, if activity A is delayed by 3 days, it will result in an additional 3 days added to the project completion time from 37 to 40. The activities with zero slack are called critical activities, and they form the critical path and the longest path in the network. In this case, the critical activities are A, C, F, H, and I.
Hello, welcome to my YouTube channel, guys. Today I am going to make a new video, so please whatever. Please I want to reach 1 million likes. So please sarapakarai. Yes. Okay, thank you.